Folks, Republicans are poised to dominate U.S. elections for decades to come at this point, thanks to clear population trends and electoral shifts, with people leaving states like California and New York, favoring states like Florida and Texas. This could help the GOP dominate elections going forward on the national level. And this isn't just speculation. It is based on the 2023 Electoral College forecast and recent population growth that favors conservative states. So we're going to dive into it all today, break everything down for you. But before we get into it, drop down below, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you never miss another video again from us in the future. So the U.S. population has grown since, I think, about 2020, almost 9 million people. It has grown by roughly 9 million people since 2020. And the numbers show a clear trend. Conservative states in the South are booming, while liberal states in California and New York are shrinking. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the 2024 estimates, Florida, just in 24, added roughly 1.8 million residents. Since 2020. 1.8 million residents. That's an 8% growth, driven by no state income tax, job opportunities, a business-friendly environment. There's many different associations that have reported on this, that Florida is a hub for business activity and economic activity going forward from here. In Texas, as we know, right now, Florida projected to get 4 additional electoral votes. And the same thing goes if you look at the change in the number of seats that they're going to get. Look at this, 4 as well here. It's like, these are congressional seats, of course. But we know Texas is another powerhouse with strong economic growth and domestic migration fueling this population surge. And these states aren't just growing, they're gaining political power. Meanwhile, states like California and New York are losing people fast thanks to high taxes, overregulation, unaffordable living costs that have led to projected losses of 2, 3, even up to 4 electoral votes in some of these states. It is just insane. You look at California, they're going to lose 4 seats in the House. They're going to lose 3 electoral votes. New York's going to lose 2. And the overall shift in this is Republicans are going to get 11 points. 11 points for them. And so a couple things we want to look at. You look at Florida and Texas. We are going to start, let's do CNN. So, in 2020, Trump won the state of Florida by, 3.5, little under 3.5 points. In Texas, so 3.5 in Florida, and won by 5.5 in Texas. Like 5.5 Texas, 3.5 Florida. Trump went on in 2024 to blow it out of the water. If you thought these states were getting less conservative, you're wrong. Look at Texas. Trump won the state of Texas by almost 14 points, tripled his margin since 2020. You look at Florida. Trump won the state by 13 points. 13 points. Once again, almost over tripled it, quadrupled what his margin was previously. And this shift is no accident. Americans are voting with their feet. They're leaving blue states, heading to red ones. And it's been confirmed by the American Redistricting Project 2023, their appropriations forecast on how this is going to look. Because here's the bottom line. The 2030 Electoral College forecast shows that Texas, we're going to get back to it here. This shows that Texas and Florida each gain in 4 electoral votes, while California and New York lose 3 and 2 respectively. That's a net gain of a total of 11 electoral votes for the Republican Party. This is just insane. And the Democrats lose 9. Well, in the toss-up states, there's 2, and I'm guessing that's Pennsylvania and Wisconsin right there. But even going to states like Idaho, you go to places like Arizona, it is places like Utah. These are Republican strongholds here. This is going to be great for them. And if we apply this to the 2024 election, where President Trump won 312 electoral votes, the outcome of this race would have shifted dramatically. President Trump would have had in this race 321 electoral votes with the same map that he has right now. Like if he would have won the same states, he would have his margin would have expanded by even more. It is just insane what is going on here. This redistribution is locked in by the Constitution's process, which allows states to reallocate. They allow them to reallocate every 10 years House seats based on population growth and where if they've decreased in certain areas and increased in certain areas. And the Brennan Center for Justice explained it very well. This isn't just a temporary advantage. It is a structural shift that favors Republican strongholds. Starting with the 2032 election, the data from the American Redistricting Project and Census Bureau projections make it clear the Electoral College is tilting red. And why does this benefit Republicans? It's simple. The states that are gaining populations are Texas, Florida, and others in the South, like we said, like Arizona, Utah, Idaho. This is where they're gaining. In Republican strongholds, that's where they're gaining. And they're losing in Democrat strongholds here. That's where the population is being lost. And a Pew Research Center poll from 2020 shows that 69% of rural voters who dominate these regions back Republicans compared to just 29% for Democrats. Urban areas where Democrats thrive are stagnating or declining. California and New York's population losses are a direct result of these failed liberal policies. Sky-high taxes, overregulation, open border chaos is driving residents out. Longtime residents of California, New York, Minnesota, Illinois, Washington, they're driving them out of these states, Oregon. They're driving them out of these states because of these ridiculous policies that they've chose to support. Meanwhile, red states like Texas and Florida that offer freedom, low taxes, and opportunity attract the people and the patriots who value that. In like we said, the 23 projection, Census Bureau projection, confirmed this trend will continue, with the South and the Midwest outpacing the Northeast and West. In immigration policies under a potential Democrat administration could flood blue states with new residents, but under Trump or a Republican in 2028, we can ensure that fair apportionment, that this happens fairly, and that it respects the American citizens' vote as where they are right now or where they're going to be in 2030. We don't want to skew this towards the Democrats. Because here's the thing, that's what the Democrats tried to do under Biden. They tried to come in, allow all these millions, tens of millions of illegal immigrants to come in, and then they tried to pass what they called a border security bill, which was just an amnesty package that was branded as a border security bill, so they could give 10, 20 million illegal immigrants legal status here. Like, that's what they tried to do. And if they win in 2028, that's what they're going to try and do again. They're going to continue doing it because this isn't just growth. It is a mandate for conservative values moving forward. And some Democrats are starting to recognize that, like Gavin Newsom, who's, the guy is such a loser and he has no values or beliefs. He just goes wherever he thinks the tide is going. But now, you may be able to argue that some argue that Democrats could adapt. They could attract younger, diverse voters to shift states like Texas or Florida. But let's be real about this. These demographic changes could take decades, and current trends show Hispanic and rural voters increasingly aligned with Republicans. As seen in the Texas 2024 election, people thought Texas was going to be this blue state by now. And it just had an insane vote for President Trump when it voted by over 14 points to elect President Trump in 2024. Let's look at the Texas presidential election results 2020. Let's keep looking at this. Okay, 2020, Trump won the state by, 5.5 points? He won by about 9 points in 2016. 2012, the last person who had such a big margin of victory was Mitt Romney, when he won by roughly, 50, that's a, 16 percentage point margin right there? If people really thought that the state of Texas was becoming more liberal, they're wrong. Because Hispanic voters support Trump on his immigration and economic policies. People automatically thought that because if we had more Hispanics in Texas, that would automatically mean that it would become more democratic. But we saw Trump in 2024, it was his most diverse election victory ever. The most support among Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, all different minority groups voted for Trump in record margins. Record margins. And, there are people who say that want to claim that these big states aren't going to stay Republican, but the data does not back that up. Texas and Florida's conservative policies are driving their growth, not reversing it. And any concerns about the census accuracy, as raised by many different people, are why Republicans must ensure that Trump administration stays vigilant in the 2028 to prevent liberal manipulation in the 2030 census, because whoever is running the country in 2030, that's going to depend on who's running the census at that time. It really is just as simple as that. The 2028 election is critical. A Democrat win could mean open borders, unchecked immigration, and potentially tilting this population growth back towards blue states. With strong Republican leadership, we have to make sure we secure America's future. Maintain this electoral advantage and do not let the Democrats bring millions of undocumented illegal immigrants here and then give them amnesty. It's just not going to happen. So to conclude everything, to wrap this up, Republicans are set to dominate these future elections because of population growth in red states like Texas and Florida, while blue states like California and New York are declining. The Republicans could have 11 more electoral votes in the 2032 election. And let's just look at this real quick. I'm going to go... Oops, gosh, sorry about that. Let's look at this right here. Let's look at the 28. So if the Republicans win the same states they won before, let's take a look at this. We're just going to go through and fill it out with where the Republicans would be at if they won the same exact states as they did before. Let's see. And sorry, when I hit those, I don't mean that they're tilt or anything like that. I just mean that I double-clicked it on accident. So let's see. Ohio, Indiana. These states right here, that President Trump won. Oops, and actually the Democrats won that. And I think, No. The Republicans won this one. Maybe the Democrats won that one. And then, where am I forgetting? Oh, the Democrats will win there. Oh, that's what I'm forgetting. So, if the Republicans were to win this same map right here, and let's just say they don't win, let's keep the toss-up, these toss-ups right here out of it. With 4 more electoral votes to Florida, 4 more to Texas, they would win. They won't need Pennsylvania, Michigan. All they need Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and they can win the election. The Republicans will not need the blue wall in 2032 to win the election. They will not need the blue wall. In 28, they will. But in 2032, they are not going to need, if things go as planned, are not going to need the blue wall to win. And with places like Georgia, North Carolina, Nevada, and Arizona becoming more Republican strongholds, this could be huge for the Trump administration, for the Republican Party going forward, because this is not a fluke. The result of Americans choosing freedom, low taxes, and opportunity over liberal overregulation and open border policies. This is how you stay ahead of it. You got to stay informed with these sources. You got to stay informed with what's going on. So do you agree? Republicans are Americans' future? Do you think that the policies they're doing are attracting more and more people to come to their states while leaving liberal cities? And do you think that the liberals who do immigrate to Texas or to Florida or to Republican states are going to leave their shitty liberal policies behind? Or do you think they're going to bring them with? What are your thoughts on that? Let me know down below on what your thoughts are on this. And that's going to wrap things up for today, folks. We will catch you next time.